I'm here backstage with one of British Superbikes' most charismatic people, James Whitham. Thanks for joining us here on Motorsport Radio. What's your favourite thing about the whole Motorcycle Live business?
Well, I'm one of them old school motorcycle racers. I actually was into motorcycles as a kid, so I had bikes as a kid. I had a moped when I was 16. I had motorbikes from 17 onwards, and I had a motorcycle licence as soon as I was 17. You know, I am a motorcyclist as opposed to just a racer. A lot of modern racers actually don't have a bike licence or a motorcycle till they stop racing. Then they understand how much they like bikes. So it's brilliant for me. So I'm privileged to work here anyway, but also I get to look around when the show's closed. So before it even opened, Friday night I'm looking around the place, looking at all the new bikes, and there's some really nice things. I like motorcycles and I like engineering, so it's brilliant for me. Looking
back on your career in both Worlds and British Championships, what would be the highlights for you?
Highlights are when you win. I mean, I've won a couple of British Championships that were good years. Won a World Superbike round in Indonesia back in '94. That was a highlight. Won 3 or 4 Supersport World Championship races. Never won a championship. Really thought I should have done at one point, but I didn't. But if I'm honest, probably the years on the Belgrade R6 in World Supersport were my most enjoyable years.
If you could go back to one championship now, or one race, because you did Isle of Man and TT as well, what would it be?
I enjoyed the TT. I'm really glad I did it. I did 5 years at the TT. It wasn't the place for me. Always a little bit dangerous. Never really trusted myself over there. Love the place to go watch there now. A lot of respect for people who race there. But I'd probably go back and do a couple of years on the Supersport bike again. I love that.
As a pundit, how do you see the new direction of World Superbikes has gone with the reverse grid?
The reverse grid for me hasn't done what you thought it should do. It hasn't made it any. We thought we were going to have 20 laps of the faster men battling through traffic, and what we've got really is 1 lap of Jonathan Rea getting to the front again. Tom Sykes struggling a little bit, and Chaz Davies somewhere in between. That's the only difference it's made. So I don't think that's worked. Whether the one race on Saturday and one race on Sunday's worked or not, I don't know. Jury's still out. Some people like that, some don't. I think the rules for next year, the new technical regs, are going to be really good. And I think the playing field as far as machinery is going to be a lot more level. Also, there's a handicapping system, so if any one manufacturer or rider does dominate the championship, then they're going to be penalised. So for me, it's going to work. I still love the championship. I think there's a lot of life left in it yet, and I hope it makes a comeback as far as the crowds go next year.
Do you think it can be back to how it was back in the late 90s, early 2000s?
Yeah, why not? I mean, what we need first of all is some good racing, and I think we're going to get that with the new regs, and then with a bit of luck the crowd's going to come back. Then it gets a bit of an atmosphere, then it gets a bit of a ball rolling and momentum. I think one of the things we have seen that's been a real success at the World Superbike meetings this year have been the Supersport 300. It's been absolutely brilliant class. I really wasn't sure when they announced it. I thought, they're going to be too slow. How is this going to work? Are the bike's going to be equal? How can you make a single-cylinder KTM equal to, even though it's more CCs, equal to a 300cc twin? But it's worked. The regs have worked. The racing's worked. The kids have been absolutely brilliant in it, and the only downside for me, there should be some more and better Brits in there. We've had a couple of decent lads in there, but I'd love to see 4 or 5 Brits going in there, because they are going to go on to other things. That is clear. If you can win that, that's the whole idea of it. We're going to see it in British Championship next year, and I think that's a good thing. So yeah, it's been a cracker as that.
Do you think that the British Junior Supersport is going to be as good as well, or do you think it might not lend itself to the more quirky circuits of the UK?
No, certainly what made the racing really, really good at World Championship was the slipstreaming, and you get some of that at BSB, our, like you say, quirky circuits or different circuits, but you don't get as much. You do at Silverstone, you do at Thruxton, but your Cadwells and your Knockhills, there isn't as much slipstreaming, so they're going to get spread out a bit more. But I still think it'd be good racing. If you watched any of the standard class the Hell Motorstar race had the standard class within it. If you watch the standard class when they raced alone in their own race and they weren't mixed in with the other Moto3 bikes, it was brilliant. And that's the same reason I think we're going to get that from the 300s as well.
And what would you make of British Superbikes? Of course, 2017 was the first time in 20 years we'd had 10 winners. It's as strong as it's ever been.
Yep, British Superbike's been brilliant. Don't think, though, that everybody says, take them rules, put in World Superbike. Wouldn't work. Circuits are different. The reason we get a lot of winners in BSB is because one bike and one rider can suit a particular quirky circuit and then doesn't suit another different natured circuit. So I think you're never going to transpose them rules, but British Superbikes really works. The regs are brilliant. More important than the 10 different riders who won was 6 different manufacturers, which that's the telling thing if a regulation's working, and for me it really is. It's never been better. Typically in sort of 30 and 40,000 people going watching it, and it's really good to be involved in it at the minute.
What do you make of the stock 1,000 class? There's loads of people in that, there's a load of winners to choose from, and there's a massive grid as well.
Yeah, and that's Stock 1000 is one of the classes that's difficult to regulate because if one manufacturer brings a bike out that's significantly better, we saw the S1000 BMW dominate for a while, then the people who are buying the motorcycles to go racing in, who have no allegiance to any manufacturer, are going to go and buy that bike. So you're going to get a lot of BMWs if the BMW is good, you're going to get a lot of Kawasaki's if the Kawasaki's good. But actually this year there's been Suzuki's coming through with the new JSX-R, BMWs have won races, Kawasaki's won races, and the Yamaha hasn't been far away either. So even the Aprilia at times hasn't been far off the pace. So I think it's naturally a good class at the minute.
Prediction time finally. Who's your top 6 for next season?
Which class?
Superbikes.
British Superbikes.
British
Superbikes is a really difficult one to call. Honestly, without sitting down and thinking about it for 10 minutes, Shane Byrne isn't going to be far away because he never is. He didn't make it easy for himself this year. Obviously, you can't discount Leon Haslam. You've got to say that if Ellison got a good run of luck instead of a bad run of luck, he would be somewhere near. Josh Brooks, yeah, is he capable of winning the championship? He's probably going to have a little bit better bike than he had this year. Yeah, he's capable of winning it. Then you're going to look at people like Luke Mossy, Jake Dixon, Brad Raven, I think is going to make the showdown. Then there's your Coopers and your Hickmans. It's a difficult one to call, but I'd say you'd go. I think that the 4 who's going to dice for the championship are going to be Brooks, Ellison, Shaker and Leon Haslam. But even someday, honestly, I still think that we haven't seen the best from Christian Hidden. Christian ran really strong, hurt himself at Knockham and never really got his mojo back. But then led races right at the end. Remember him leading at Silverstone and crashing out. So I think you know you're talking even difficult to call the showdown. It really is.
How about the Hondas?
Hondas, yeah, and actually I didn't mention them really because I forgot, not because I didn't include them in my thoughts. Yeah, why not? I mean, they've got a way to go with the Honda. I still think the bike isn't as competitive as what it needs to be, but they've got 2 good riders. They've got Jason, completely consistent, has been all season, not won a round, but his consistency saw him into the showdown. Dan Linfoot, I honestly believe he's one of the fastest riders out there, given the bike that he likes and given him on a good day. I think he can run with anybody. So if he gets a good run at it and the bike improves next year, why not?
Jamie Whitham, thanks for joining us.
Thank you.